Hello, and welcome back to the Animal Communicator and Healer Summit. This is the place for aspiring and established animal communicators and healers to connect with animals, to connect with their abilities, and to connect with each other. I'm your host, Dr. Kara Gubbins, founder of the Animal Wisdom Circle and creator of How to Talk to Your Pet, the proven four-step system that teaches anyone and everyone how to communicate intuitively. Oh, I couldn't get that one out. How to communicate intuitively with their pets or with any animals. And joining us today, we have Laurie Reyon, and we're going to be talking about communication and healing with the great whales and dolphins. Laurie Reyon is an internationally known interspecies communicator and soul healer. Her gift allows her to speak to animals and the angels and translate their messages to humanity. She recognizes the cetaceans as the ancient beings and master healers on this planet. Reyon works in sacred partnership with Master Cat Puda and the whales and the dolphins, and Puda's here with us today too. Welcome, Laurie and Puda.
Thank you. It's very exciting to be here and to accept this opportunity to share more information about animal communication.
We're so happy that you're here, and both of you, because I know you guys work in partnership. But before we go into the healing and communication you do with whales and dolphins, I would really love to hear your story about how you came to this path of becoming an interspecies communicator and soul healer.
Well, I think I was born basically an animal communicator, but without realizing it. You know, as a child, I wanted to spend all my time with my horse and dogs and cats, and they were my best friends. And I grew up in rural Nebraska, and horses were just, like pudding to me. I wanted to be with them all the time, and I couldn't understand why the cowboys, would break the horses, so to speak. When I would just go up and put a piece of twine around their neck, and I wasn't fully supported financially in this art. I had to do it, kind of behind the scenes. My parents were not ranch people, but I had a natural gift with horses, and I would just tell them I'm sorry if someone's been mean to them, and I would ask them, if it's a good time to be riding you, or are you interested in sharing love with us, And they really were. I mean, horses to me are like land dolphins in the sense of their ability to be so communicative and so loving with us. So I really enjoyed those years, and I'm always grateful I was raised in Nebraska so I could connect with the animals. And then I went on later to study veterinary medicine, and unfortunately that was not the path of, my joy, I guess you'd say. I wanted to help the animals, but I didn't yet understand about energy medicine or, direct communication that I had already experienced. I just thought other people had the same gifts that I had, but they didn't use them, I guess, so I became more and more confused. And the more I was in college, the more I shut it down, and the unhappier I became. So I ended up doing 5 years of college, and then basically graduating as an animal health technician, but very unhappy, and not seeing myself, in a clinic, so to speak, situation, and not knowing why, just really not understanding it. So at that point, kept my communication skills basically just for my own animals. But in 1994, I had a car accident. Of course, I don't believe in the word accident. I believe everything happens with purpose, but it opened me up to having a near-death experience and coming back and then starting to appreciate my gift, which was really opened up now to be the third eye and to be open to telepathic communication. And this being here, Master Cat Puda was in a different body at the time and just became my partner, really, really opened up. And during the years I was healing and trying to, reinvent myself and go through what I experienced on the other side and the loss of my business up in LA and all, she would just explain to me that everything happens for a reason, and we should spend this time writing prayers. And so she loves to write prayers. She writes the most beautiful prayers, and explained to me that it's all about creating heaven on earth, and that joy is the frequency that we're seeking here. I didn't get it. I was so mad, after having an experience like that, and shut down and depressed. And but thank God the telepathy reigned. We were talking just like we're talking now, completely. And she never backed down, with the energy of, you'll come through this, and you're going to be better. You're going to see a new way to be on the planet, and you're going to experience your gifts. And she would talk to me like that. And so I ended up at this little house in Mexico, because my family wanted me to recover, and I wasn't, recovering naturally like they thought I would. So I'd always thought I would retire down there. So here I am in this little beach house, and 3 dolphins would come to my house every day. And that's when it really started, because she would go out and sit on the deck and look at them, and they'd raise up in the water and yum, 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 talk, 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 squeak, 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 And I was overjoyed to see them, but I had no idea that I would later communicate with them. And she would say, they want to talk to you. They want to teach you. These are our master teachers on the planet. You really have a lot to learn from them. I'm like, well, I don't really care. But over the time, I learned, and then I started playing with them. I started looking forward to seeing them every day. And the one seemed to be the leader of the three. We named him Simon. And he was, he became my dolphin teacher. He would start to tell me things about my friends. And then I realized that dolphins are tuned into us all the time. They know everything, just like the animals that cats and dogs do. I don't know if everyone knows that. The animals know everything about you all the time. There's nothing that's hidden. So they're really my mantra is the animals are the master teachers on the planet and the master healers. And when we tune into their frequency, then nothing is hidden from us, because we're the ones that hide it, right? So this gift really opened up then, and I started to play with it and use it and practice on my friends, I guess. And as years went on, I moved back to the States part-time, and I started to doing just classes on animal communication. And every time the dolphins would come in, every time they'd come in energetically. And I think 2008, I reached the first time a whale frequency where I got my first whale message. And basically there was a Native American gathering here near where I live. And the chief said to me, "You will bring forth a message from the Great Whale Council." And I went, I just do cats and dolphins, I didn't really think I could do that. And he said it again, "You will bring forth a message from the Whale Council." And I'm like, okay. So I was scared. So that night I sat and meditated, and I did get a message and realized that the whales were the next step for me. Of course, all dolphins are whales. Most people probably know that. They're considered toothed whales. But what we're speaking about now are the humpback whales and the blue whales, the larger whales on the planet that are really, really incredible wisdom keepers. And that started me on the path of connecting to the whales and being open to them when they would contact me to take down a message, so to speak. It was very different than the dolphins. The dolphins, I can contact them like right now. They're here all around me. I mean, they're always with me, and I could contact them for you or for someone else to receive a message. But the whales, they come in when they're ready, when they have something to say, and then they'll ask you, "Will you please write this down or take this down?" So that has been a path of really 18 years now, and then following their messages as I was guided to use them for healing.
And how did the healing part come into play?
Well, they asked me to start, I guess you'd say, my own healing center, but I wasn't in a place at that point, I guess you'd say, in my life or financially. So as time went on, 5 of us actually came together to form a healing center. We actually called it the Cat Center. It was in Carlsbad, California. And I was also working with the star beings, with the Pleiadians. And the combination of that, those two and the whales, they asked me if we would set up a workshop called Healing with the Whales and with the Pleiadians. And so, and I didn't really have to know anything, in the sense of just, it's almost better, they said, that you don't have some idea of how this is going to happen, because you don't. Humans don't. So if you can step back and let us come in and be a pure channel for us, then we can really make a difference and teach people a lot. So the early years were like that. It was pretty much a speaker whale, and 2 or 3 Pleiadians would come in. And I started to learn how to put people down into their energy, and bring in the whale, summon the whale energy, so it comes in all around us. It's the living Merkaba field of the whales. And those were the early years of doing that, and seeing, without even really realizing, that people would say, "Oh, I have this ailment or that ailment." It didn't seem to matter what the ailment was, it would go away, whether it was, an allergy or a broken bone, And I started to live in what I call the miracle zone. It's just amazing what they're capable of doing. And this is before I understood anything about science or quantum physics or, how they work at really the fractal level. I didn't know any of that. So I was a good candidate, I guess, to be, one of their voices and, instrument of their healing. So to this day, I just step back, I really don't think that my energy has that much to do with it, other than being a marketing agent for them. A cheerleader.
It sounds like you really had that beginner's mind, that no expectation, no thinking, just allowing it to be what it was.
Yeah, I like to say everything I've ever learned that has value was taught to me by an animal. And I didn't yet know about metaphysical organizations or books or anything, because I was raised in those early years, I was raised a Christian, and so I had pretty much walked away from that. It didn't feel right to me, and I don't mean that disrespectfully in any way. I love Jesus very much, but the religious part of it wasn't working for me. It was very disempowering, and so being taught by the animals, then you come in through nature. You come in like a shaman, because they're all shamans. They all understand the elemental realm and the celestial realm and how the celestial realm interfaces with the elemental realm, right? And this is where true healing begins. If you're not connected to the earth and you're not connected to source light, whatever that is to you, we'll call it God, you can't heal because you're not unified. Your frequency, you have to connect to your mother and your father, so to speak. And you have to have an allowance for that energy to then come into balance. And I think so many of our belief systems have limited us from being able to connect to the animal realm. And they've all just been waiting there patiently, right? I mean, if you look at your dog or your cat and you see a dumb dog or a cute cat, then that's what they have to show you, because that's the belief system that you have, and that's what they agreed to. But if you can start to see a master being there, you're going to experience a master being, and they will take you on a journey, on an evolutionary journey, as fast or as slow as you want to go. Okay, I'm not saying Master Kut is a better or more evolved than anybody. I'm just going to tell you she's an old soul. But a lot of your animals are old souls too. And remember, they have pause-on experience with the earth. They know exactly what's going on. They know how to read your energy field. And there's nothing they'd rather do than communicate with you. Nothing. They would just, they're excited. You can just feel it when we start talking about, would you like to talk to your dog or your cat?
Yeah.
So in my world, it's the third eye. Most people haven't activated the third eye or the pineal gland, which is the organ that allows this to happen, because they haven't really yet learned or remembered how to return to the heart. We're still up in the mind playing ping pong, right? The mind will say, you can do it. No, you can't. You can do it. No, you can't. You can do it. No, you can't. And that will go on, maybe your whole life until you return to the heart, where the solution energy lives and love reigns. And love is always the answer, right? Love is the answer for everything.
No matter what the question.
They're still on the battlefield, don't realize that. They have to lay down that sword, whatever that is, whether it's relationships or it's a real, battle with other people.
Yeah.
That will go on until you're done. And then you'll come back to love, which is the true essence of who we are. So isn't it nice that what we consider to be God or source energy has given us this animal realm to keep us on track? I mean, what would it be like without them, huh?
It would be an empty world.
I wouldn't want to be here. Yeah.
No.
Without the guides.
So it sounds like when you connect with the whales and the dolphins, in the beginning, you were basically immersing yourselves into that energetic field.
Yes.
And the vibration of that was probably a lot like love. And that's what kind of raised the vibration of the people, and the healing resulted from that raised vibration. Am I understanding that correctly?
I think so. I mean, what we're really talking about is coherence, right? When you're in the place of love, your heart field is the coherence of your Merkaba, or your light body is extended at least 55 feet, sometimes longer. When we're driving and I'm in the car with Puda, sometimes she'll say, we're affecting about 110 miles. That's a pretty good day. Two of us together projecting our light, we're softening the energy wherever you go. And it's an interesting way to look at it.
I really like that image of say,
the
like not just
right?
driving down the street on a crowded freeway, but going, oh my gosh, my light is expanding to touch all of these people around me.
And the more light you bring in, the larger your energy field becomes. And the more love you can contain, and light, what is light? Light is wisdom. Light is information. Here's a story. We were up in Canada last year with Cryon, working with Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden, and doing a big conference, 1,200 people. And we're doing our healing sessions. And we have this booth, that's outside of the room where people can come and have a healing session. And Buddha lays right up on your body, and we summon the whale energy, and it's beautiful. This guy walks in and he goes, can you see auras? And I go, sometimes. Yeah, I have the gift of sight. I've kind of tuned it down to be in public, though. I turn on the hearing more. And he said, well, your cat's aura field is gold. Did you know that? And I said, yeah, I did know that. I've had her aura picture taken before. And he said, well, it's as big as this room. And I said, yeah, she's a master healer. And he said, oh, okay. Next day he comes in, he goes, when I drove up and parked my car, her energy field's out in the street now. It's over my car. He said, did you know that? I said, no. He said, it's getting bigger every day. And I said, well, all the light we're doing here, And she just works. It's her gift. She wants to work on one person right after another, nonstop. And so that energy just keeps building, right? And we become more of a vehicle of light. which is incredibly powerful.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
the more that moves through you, the more you can hold in the future. And so it just keeps
right.
growing and growing.
It does. Well, as long as you stay happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Laurie, what happens during your healing sessions with the whales and the dolphins
Okay.
now?
So, well, the first session we do with everyone, it's called a whale healing and clearing, because the whales really are the embodiment of the ACHS, okay, of the records. They read the records, they read your records through every lifetime. And they come in with the energy of what we call the violet flame. Their aura is the violet flame, and it's transmutational energy at the subatomic level. And the Merkaba spins, and lower or negative energies are moved out. And again, remember, they're working with your higher self. So whatever your higher self says is okay, is what they do. They don't play God. They work within the contracts of what, what we'll say your I am presence or your soul says is okay to do today. But they'll spin out old contracts that no longer serve the soul's progression into the light. They spin out toxic energy that's in your bloodstream or in your organ systems. We have lots and lots of people that have had cancer, broken bones, chronic pain. I mean, you name it. But you can never guarantee a healing because you never know what that I am presence is doing, right? It's none of our business to see what that soul's doing, but always people feel better. And then the other part of the Merkaba that spins the other way is the angelic realm. So then as soon as the lower energies are spun out, then the celestial realms come in and bring in God's light. And so you're immediately filled up. So that's why people feel so good. The lower energies it's almost like a toilet, are flushed out or spun out, and God's light comes in, the celestial realms, angels, and seal them up. And at the end, we do this golden bubble of light around them. So as long as they can maintain that vibration. And then people start to work, if they're interested, with the next level. There's really three parts. The next level are light body activations. And this comes with working with the white whales. You may have heard they started to be born on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Part of our prophecy was we went to Kauai, to where Master Buddha says the Stargate is, which is the northeast corner of Kauai, March 3rd, 2011, or 2012, sorry. And we received them energetically back to the planet. And they started to come to me one by one, really, and give me templates for healing to create light body. And they're vast. I mean, it's not something you can do in one day, but it's a lifelong, process of understanding how to put the avatar blueprint back together. And it's really amazing. And so we then introduce people that want to continue on this course to the white whales, and we start to adjust their frequencies. And then the third thing is when they're ready, usually maybe the third or fourth session, we start to bring the dolphins in. And there's an ascended council of dolphins that they tell us they're the epigeneticists of the earth. They work directly with the human DNA, with the strands of DNA, to turn on dormant DNA that's been there holding mastery, and turn off DNA that's causing emotional blockages that might be damaged while they repair it. So there are actually 12 strands of DNA. Most people don't maybe know that. And so they work at that level. And so part of the training they've given me, really the last 5 years of working with them, is we'll call it epigenetics, which is that they teach us that the environment and the foods that we eat and the emotions that we create are what change the DNA, not what your parents gave you. That's actually a falsehood. You come in with that original DNA from your parents, but after that, you can change anything, even your eye color. So Puda does it all the time. She's always changing her eye color. And I said, "Look, your eyes are green today." And she'll say, "I know. What do you think?"
And I love the overlap between where science is really paying attention to epigenetics and the factors that affect whether
Right.
genes are turned on or off or whatever. And
Right.
there's new evidence that DNA is actually changed itself, not just whether it gets turned on or off, but the DNA itself can get changed because of epigenetics. And then the spiritual healing level that can come in and assist that process as well, so that you
Yeah.
can heal at
Right. Well,
multidimensional levels.
we're first spiritual beings, and we forget that. We start focusing all on the physical, and we forget how to even take care of our physical body. But we're spiritual first.
Yeah, I always say we're spiritual beings having a human
Yeah,
experience.
exactly. And we've forgotten, many of us, that the emotional body is the creative force. So if it feels, however it feels for you, is how it's being created. If you don't feel well, or you don't like your job, or you're having a bad day, you're affecting everything. You're affecting, your Akashic records at the deepest level. So we have to do everything we can to stay out of sadness or despair and move back into joy, and, a place of where you feel positive. Okay, so maybe it's not an ecstatic day, but you need to find positivity and a reason for being. Also, the dolphins have taught us that the telomeres, which are the the part of the DNA strand that extends, that gives us longevity and health, will extend when we're in a path of service. And if we're not on a path of service, they don't extend as well. But it's joy, happiness, service, playing what the dolphins would say in the pod mind, which is the good of the many, not the good of the one, right?
I
When
love
we
it.
contribute to the greater good and we stop fighting with each other, then the telomeres extend and we become, we just keep youthing and feeling better.
Yeah.
And of course, being around dolphins physically and etherically will greatly, enhance your frequency. This is their gift. That's who they are. And I think a lot of us intuitively know there's something special about dolphins, but we maybe haven't put their finger on it yet. That the dolphins really are the multidimensional doctors out there. They're us in the future, like 30 million years in the future. They're saying, look at what you can achieve.
Right. This is what's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. They've worked with the brain to where the two halves of the brain are completely different than our brain. Our brain is still, again, it's actually a detriment almost to our health. But theirs is, when they send out the sonogenetic pulse that allows them to see everything around them, it comes back as a movie, like a holographic movie. Can you imagine when we'll be able to do that?
That'd be awesome.
Imagine the communications we'll be able to have with each other. There won't be any misunderstandings because we'll see it and experience it and feel it as opposed to just hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that in a lot of ways that's available to us because of the field that we live in, the energetic field. All of the information is available. We just haven't really evolved.
We haven't developed our third eye to that level yet.
Yeah.
Some people, have, a lot, and they're really telepathic, but not so much vision yet. But it'll happen. It will. I mean, the codes of creation that are being brought to us through the solar light now are changing everything, and they're awakening the codes that are in the earth. So the earth's evolving too. She's waking up and changing, and the sun is allowing that to happen, which is source light. And so it's supporting a new vibration of the new human, right?
Let's hope so.
No, it is. It's true. It's true.
Laurie, do you have any final words of wisdom or messages you want to share with people about the whales and dolphins and what's possible?
I thought I'd just read a little channel when they told me who they were. Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. Okay. So long story short is I was preparing a media sheet for a conference that I was going to. And I just thought, how can I get all of this onto one sheet, And it was down to the print deadline. And Ventakata, one of the white whales, he came in that night and he said, why don't you let me write it? I went, oh, thank God. Yeah, so it would fit on one sheet. So here it is. Message from the great white whales. Beloved humans, we are your elders, and we are the molecular librarians of Earth's history. We embody conscious creation, and we have the experience and intention to assist you with core level healing. It is our intention to assist humanity in claiming their mastery and of restoring your physical forms to radiant health. As you awaken your dormant DNA, you will naturally evolve into awakened geniuses. You will then live and create from your hearts in communities across the globe where you change the outdated and broken structures of medicine, of education, of government, and sustainable living. Connect with us now and we will accelerate your intention to evolve. We are solution energy. We are the great white whales, and we represent the cetacean nations of Earth. We are cosmic creators. Namaste.
Feels so peaceful and powerful and optimistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really.
The whales have been here, we don't really know, but at least 300 million years. They walked upright on the land originally. And I think humanity has finally come to a place where we can awaken to these codes of creation. I should say one more thing about healing, because this is sort of new in my world. I've been operating on faith and, of course, my telepathic link for 17, 18 years now. And last year I found out that Dr. Todd Ovokides, who's one of the premier scientists on the planet, he's also a part of the Cryon team, went and worked with Dr. Emoto. Everybody knows Dr. Emoto right before he passed away. And it's been proven scientifically, and we're going to make a YouTube about this and put it also into our energy medicine school with the whales and dolphins. But he proved that the whale sounds are the most powerful healing sounds on the planet because they were the only ones that were able to clear the Tokyo tap water, which was so filthy. It's supposed to be the filthiest water in the world. And so when the whales sang, the water cleared. And not only did it clear, it formed little star tetrahedrons, which is the geometric form of the light body. So you can imagine when you listen to whale sounds, I mean, I always tell people, if you just put them on in your house, who knows, that'll probably be enough to heal you. You don't know. You may not need lots of processes. Certainly has worked with animals before. If you have a sick dog or a cat or even a horse, and you play whale sounds for them, they get better. And because they intuitively know that that's the frequency that sound healing can repair whatever's going on with them. So what a great foundation that's scientific information now for our school, because, obviously it's a lot about sound. We play whale and dolphin sounds depending on which template we're using when we're working with people, both in classrooms and in one-on-one sessions. So I just want to say that. I mean, we were sound before we were form. And we go back in time to the whale sound. It's supposed to repair us. Isn't that great?
I love it that, when we look at Mother Earth, or, Earth as an ecosystem and as a whole complete system of its own, we automatically, when everybody's doing their thing, we automatically have healing happening. If the whale song is healing, then wherever they are and they're singing, then there's healing happening there. And I'm sure it's true for other animals and ecosystems as well, that we've got this self-contained, self-healing system.
Yes.
And if we allow it to, it can heal whatever needs to be healed.
Right.
We've just got a little out of balance. And
this frequency we're speaking of, which is the whale, is, it's off-world energy. They come from Sirius. And NASA has a solar probe right now. And guess what it's recording around the sun?
Whale song.
Whale song. And they don't know why.
It's just like Star Trek movie.
Whales are singing in space.
Wow.
And they're always communicating with each other.
Yeah. Laurie, you're going to come back for a bonus interview where you're going to take us through one of these meditation and healing sessions with the whales, right?
Yeah.
So people can try that out with the All Access Pass if they want to do that. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But before that, if people want to find out more about you and your work, what's the best way for them to do that?
Okay. Well, my website is Laurie Reyon. I'll spell it for you. It's Laurie, Reyon, Reyon, LaurieReyon.com. And if you're liking this topic, I mean, we do many things all centered around self-empowerment and animal communication. We have an incredible school, which is the Whale and Dolphin Energy Medicine School. Check that out. And we do retreats all over the world to be with the dolphins and whales. And we do a lot of boat trips just out of here of Dana Point, But whether you're with them in the physical or you're with them in the etheric, they're equally powerful. We just love, it's sort of like I can reach over here and pet Master Cat Buddha. And I like that. But if she wasn't here, I'd still have that healing presence with me, right? She'd still be here, even if she was just in spirit. Because I've had, multiple forms of Buddha, and the in-between lives are equally powerful. But we like that. So I just want to encourage people to consider that.
Awesome. And we do have a button right here on this viewing page that will take you directly over to Laurie Reyon's website. So we'll make it easy for you to get in touch with her and check out her programs and everything that she's up to. And there is another button on this page for you to purchase your All Access Pass. So if you purchase the pass, you can listen to this interview, all of the summit interviews, all of the bonus interviews, and our special roundtable meetings with professional animal communicators and healers, and get insight into becoming a professional. So all of that's in the All Access Pass membership area. The price goes up when the summit ends, so act now to get the best value, and we look forward to seeing you over there and in the Facebook group. So come on over to the Facebook group and let us know, what did you learn from Laurie today? How do you see the world differently after hearing from her and Master Caputa and their work with the whales and dolphins? Laurie Reyon, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're so welcome. It was a joy and an honor, a real privilege.
It's always a pleasure. And thanks everybody for being part of this awesome community. I look forward to connecting with you next time. Bye everybody.